In today's video, I wanted to break down a case study that I have working with a client for about the past year or so. We started up their ads in about March 10th, 2025. That's when we started managing it. And I really did a side by side comparison here. As you can see, as the title implies, 21% year over year growth, quick screenshot of the Shopify dashboard, and then 149K more revenue from Google Ads attributed. And that's not to say again, we were able to increase the number of sales that we were getting. We increased spend by 26K, and then also we're more efficient as well. So really all of the markers that you would want to see ticked up. Typically you'll see a conflict where, you'll go up in terms of spend and your ROAS will drop a little bit, but that typically happens at super high spend. So typically with the right foundation, we can counteract that. So today really just wanted to go over what we did for this brand to really be able to grow 20% year on year, and just to show you really what's possible when you have a proper structure for Google Ads. Jumping into the account, you'll see we actually have a lot of different campaigns running here, a little bit different from what I typically suggest, where you just run a few really consolidated campaigns. Typically, that's going to be the best structure. But in this case, we just have so many different product types to a point it doesn't really make sense to have them in one campaign. Everything is so diverse and performs completely different, because what we have here is we have some higher ticket, longer sales cycle products. It's actually a form of paint, but it takes longer for people to convert. And they'll often buy several pints, where we also don't want to put it with something like clothing. They have like a specific kind of material. I can't really go too much into it, but we want to make sure that that's segmented, because a product priced around $200 compared to somebody buying something for $10,000 should have different targets and also different campaigns, right? So regardless of the fact that we have a super low budget here, I still want to make sure we can assess performance on the campaign level for those paint products and then also those clothing related products. Okay, so that's largely the distribution here. Whereas a few more different kind of product types segmented out. What I really did was I was using the feed only catch-all to just kind of focus on ROAS, get a good performance on the front end. And then really, if I was finding some type of winners, I'd typically isolate them, put them into standard shopping campaign. And that's really what we did. And then we really duplicated the approach for Canada as well. So we had this for US, mirrored it for Canada, and really just going to continue expanding that way, because as you can really see, I mean, obviously you see limited by budget warnings in your account probably. There's opportunity projected by Google to scale, which again, I don't listen to this blindly, but at least gives you a forecast of how much you can spend profitably with diminishing return, right? So you want to make sure you're actually spending where it makes sense and where there's actually demand. So again, that's something we're going to continue to work on. But again, nonetheless, efficiency wise, this structure has really done well for this client. We've been able to just stay consistently around that, I'd say 4 to 5x return on ad spend month over month. Obviously, come Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that spikes up, but that's typical performance, which is profitable. And we see like that's resulted in year over year growth, right? Like 150K or so more in revenue, and ROAS went up. We have more sales. And that's not to mention, again, this client gets some phone calls as well, which lead to some sales over the phone. Like I said, higher ticket products, that's the reality. And then most of this budget, again, just to recap, is focused on non-brand. So we have smaller kind of brand campaigns. That's what you'll see kind of running on manual. And we have kind of two. So that's really the only branded presence we have. Most of this is focused on actual product related searches, people in the market to actually purchase what they offer. And then if we cap out on the demand, that's where we're going to start introducing YouTube into the ecosystem, maybe more top of funnel search, informational type of queries where people are looking for a solution. But that's just, again, not what we're at with this account. But nonetheless, that's really the breakdown of this account. Super simple. We have non-branded search campaigns, non-branded shopping to focus really on winners. The reason for segmentation is because of the price point of different products. And then I really have Performance Max as a catch-all, just optimizing spend towards remaining product categories where we still want to push them and get attention for them, but just focus on which ones are most profitable on the front end, of course, brand excluded.